Welcome back to GTD. This week we've got some more MLB coverage, NASCAR race at Texas, F1 goes to Shanghai this weekend, and then wrap it up a little bit about the Masters. But starting off with baseball, and it's been pretty good for both of us to start the season. Cubs and Reds both playing well. Unfortunately, we're in a super division somehow
Yeah,
with the NL Central
worst
right
division
now.
in baseball right now. I know the Cubs had a tough loss last week, eight run lead going into the seventh, and we ended up losing that. You can thank Fernando Tatis for that and our bullpen. But I mean, I feel Tatis been off to a pretty good year so
Yeah,
far. I mean, he's up to at least off the top of my head 5 home runs, maybe six at this point. But I mean, he hit some more in the Dodger series. I mean, they've just been lighting it up, especially Fernando Tatis. So it's fun to see him kind of find his groove, and he's not a shortstop anymore. He's in the outfield now, and he's not on the PED suspension list anymore. So
yeah.
to finally see him get his groove has been it's been fun.
I think people forget that healthy Fernando Tatis Jr. is still one of the best players
Scary
in
Tatis
baseball.
Jr.
I
Yeah.
think with the PED stuff and the transition on defense, getting that worked out, it's taken a little bit, but I think he's locked in again, and he's scary when he's locked in. Has really shown it to start the year. But speaking of guys that are scary, Michael Bush right now is not someone you want to face as an
No.
opposing pitcher. Homers in 4 consecutive games, which is something I'm sure you're pretty happy
Oh
about.
yeah, I mean that was a trade. I know the Cubs faithful when we gave up a really talented arm who's probably going to have a really great career. But I kind of looked at it and I was like, he's gotten his developmental time, you can call it, in the majors. You know, he didn't do great last year for the Dodgers, but no guy really does, and we're seeing it right now with the guys like Holiday. They need that time. They need the transition period, especially when you've been in the minors for a few years. It really helps. And I was like, he's got the transition period under his belt. He's he literally, I mean, he was Dodgers AAA player, minor league player of the year last year in AAA. I mean, you could look at his numbers for that, just absolutely slashed. And then it comes up for the Cubs this year, like you said, homers in 4 consecutive games. He's got 5 home runs. He's batting 327 with a 1.087 OPS. Just it's really fun to watch him play, and I think we're seeing a kind of a star being born, hopefully. So yeah, just super excited to watch him play. No, not a guy you want to pitch to right now.
He's been scary, but I know we talked about the NL Central already a little bit with how that division's been this year. You have the Brewers at 10-4, Pirates 11-5, then Cubs and Reds at 9-6, and then the poor Cardinals down there at 7-9 are the only team even at 500 or worse in this division. And
If you're a Cardinal fan, I mean, this start compared to the start you had to the season last year is way better. You're already
that's
feeling
true.
much better about
Yeah,
the season down the stretch. I mean, 7-9. I mean, you're a game under 500. I mean, that's nothing compared to, or 2 games under 500. That's nothing compared to where you were last year. So I mean, I guess they're a little more excitable than they are, and they can easily come back from that. But we'll see if that rotation can help them, especially when they get Sonny Gray back. They'll be
yeah,
in a better
it's gonna be
spot.
a big piece. That
But
rotation's kind of older though right now, so you wonder how many of them are gonna be able to make it the full season.
it's still old with Sonny Gray in the rotation. I mean,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
yeah.
But then across to the AL, that Central Division's doing pretty well too.
Yeah.
The Guardians, the Royals are both off to
We
flying
can forget the
starts, and
White
the
Sox.
Tigers right there.
We
Yeah,
just not talk about the White Sox, but the division as a whole is doing pretty well. So I mean, you picked the Tigers to win. I picked the Royals to win,
yeah,
and they're looking in good shape. The Guardians kind of coming out of nowhere, or not? I guess not nowhere, but I guess they're playing to the I think the best of their ability right now.
yeah.
I think all their pieces have kind of melded together at the right time, and we'll just see how long they can sustain it. If they can, they'll probably win that division because it's just like the Central. I think they're all on a level playing field. You don't have a super standout team like you do in some divisions, like the Dodgers or whatever.
Yeah,
So we'll just see if they can sustain it. But I think they're really playing like really good baseball right now, and it just depends on how well that stands.
yeah. The Royals are on fire too right now. Bobby Witt Jr.'s been off to a flying start, and MJ Melendez and Salvador Perez both looking really, really good right now. MJ Melendez has a lot of walks on the year 7 already, so this is a guy who's really has improved a lot as far as working on base. Something I think that this Royals lineup struggled a lot with last year. You had guys that could obviously hit for power like Salvi and Witt, but not a ton of guys who are just going to get on base in front of them. So I think if you can keep that up with Melendez, especially, that's going to be really helpful for Kansas City. But a lot of these teams just coming out of nowhere, the Pirates, the Royals, the Tigers, just a lot of weirdly successful teams in the first month of the year so far.
Yeah, I mean it's fun to watch, and obviously I mean as far as baseball season goes, we're still super early. But it is fun to see these kind of things pan out and kick up and start, and we'll see kind of where they end up down the stretch, or even when the All Star break hits. Because I mean, really, I mean, the season feels really long until you get the All Star break, and then it feels like it's a sprint. Even though it's you still
Yeah,
have half the year, it just the mentality is so much different down the stretch, and it just feels like it is a sprint to the end, no matter where you are. Even if you're at the top of your division, if you have one bad week, it seems like you can be in second or third in your division and fighting to make up those games you lost in that one week for the rest of the year. And we've seen it time and time again. So I'm really excited to see, especially if we have some of these interesting players that we haven't seen in a while, like the Pirates,
Yeah.
on a playoff push. It'll be fun to watch unfold.
Yeah, and then another guy that's been pretty interesting. I think I'm surprised he's up in the majors this early. I don't think you were as surprised, but it's Jackson Holliday of the Orioles who got called up from the AAA Norfolk Tides, who are basically a low-level
The best
MLB
AAA
team at this
team in the
point.
history of baseball.
But he's called up to the Orioles, started 0 for 11, finally got a hit. But as you said earlier, that adjustment period of the league, he's going to figure it out. And then Jackson Churio for the Brewers, Jackson Merrill for the Padres. It is the age of Jackson right now. So I don't know about you, but I'm naming my first kid Jackson because I want them to be a professional baseball player. But I don't know. A lot of young talent right now up in baseball, which is making me feel really old, especially the fact that Jackson Churio is
Oh
born
yeah,
the same year as me.
he is 4 months older than I am, which means next year there's gonna be one, if not more, players that are actually older than or younger than I am,
Uh huh.
and I'm just gonna be like, wow, and yeah, I'm
Weird.
yeah. It's just, and we're talking about these guys now, so that's just even weirder. And we were talking about, we'll get that in NASCAR, but we were talking about some of the young drivers coming up that we're just like, wow, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be insane.
Now I have to do my Reds propaganda segment right here as
Yeah.
Nick Lodolo was back for the first time in almost an entire year, and he came out firing. It was versus the White Sox, but he looked amazing. 5 2/3 innings pitched, struck out 10. His curveball was hitting people in the feet, and they were still swinging at it. So that pitch is as devastating as ever, but his fastball was also up by a whole mile an hour in average velocity. So if he can lock that in and stay healthy, which has been a big question for him in the majors so far, I think this is the real ace of the Reds rotation. I think Hunter Green has shown that he has upside, but I don't think he has ace stuff with only really a two-pitch mix. He doesn't throw that changeup much anymore, but Lodolo, I think, is going to be that guy that will carry the Reds rotation if they do make the playoffs this year. And then another guy who's really turned it on is Elly De La Cruz, who got off to a frankly really rough start, but in the last week he's gone 8 of 23, hit 4 homers, one of which was inside the park, and 2 of which were 449 and 450. So he's hitting the ball wherever right now,
It's kind of
and
his thing. Like,
yeah,
he'll hit one monster home run, and then he'll just kind of like be like, I'm tired of hitting it over the fence.
league
Let's
homer.
just run.
Yeah, but he's got his average all the way up to 286. The OPS is sitting at 962, and I think there were a lot of Reds fans who were like, "Oh, we need to send him back down to AAA. He's got to figure it out." Like, calm down.
Yeah.
It's a slow start to the season. We see this from guys all the time, and for Ellie especially, getting the feel for his admittedly massive strike zone, he's really got to work on that K rate. It's been slowly coming down as the year has gone on, so I have faith that he'll figure this out. But it's good to see him, especially as a Reds fan, hitting the ball well again.
And can you name the 3 players in MLB who had a 18 or get on base rate every game their team played for the first 18 games they got on base?
Well, it was Altuve, it was Ellie, and then I think was the third Ian Happ.
It was Ian Happ.
Ian
So
Happ. Okay.
Ellie's one
Yeah.
of 3 players in that category. All those have since come to an end.
Ellie's ended at 19, stretching back to last season, which for a guy that apparently strikes out every at bat to have a 19 game on base streak, whatever.
Yeah, no, even with the kind of rough kind of start he had offensively, just being able to work walks and get on base was really impressive for him. So if he can turn it on and just add, the whole walking aspect to his game, he's going to be super deadly hitter. And I mean, I think we're already seeing that kind of take form and take shape. But yeah, just crazy.
Yeah, and now I believe it's time for the sunglasses to come out again. So
Oh,
bad
it
flip of
is.
the week.
We have a Padre this week. Can you guess which Padre?
No,
There's a few. No,
no, it's not.
it is Manny Machado.
Really?
So, Fernando, people have told me he got robbed on opening week, which I don't agree with. Adolis Garcia's was awesome. The environment, just everything around Adolis Garcia's was incredible. Who cares if it beat the Cubs? It was incredible. And then Tatis had another one against the Cubs last week. In that he in the 8-0 game that we were leading, he's the reason they won. We had a 2-run home run in the ninth. So that was a good one, but I got to give it to Manny Machado's against the Dodgers. Let's take a look. I'll throw it up on screen for y'all. But yeah, yanks it left center, then just kind of walk points with the bat, not at the ball, just points to the crowd, I guess, and then stares down his own dugout like, yeah, this is what we do, this is what we do, this is what we do against the Dodgers, and then just a nice traditional, like the most traditional bat flip I've seen in a while, just lowers it and just flip, goes end over end and just softly lands.
Yes.
And then, I mean, they hit more home runs against the Dodgers in that series. So just a start to a good series for the Padres against the Dodgers, who according to ESPN is the best rival in baseball.
It's not. It's not. I hate. That is my least favorite piece of. I don't even know what to call it. Like propaganda or whatever. That the Padres and Dodgers are the biggest rivals in the MLB. It's so dumb. Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants. Almost any NL Central team has a bigger rivalry than Padres Dodgers as well. Although I wouldn't put those necessarily top tier baseball like I would
I mean, the
Yankees, Red
Cubs,
Sox.
Cardinals
Cardinals is
up
quite
there.
big, but so many of those rivalries are bigger than Dodgers Padres.
I'm with
So
you
much.
100%. And I know we've talked about the pitchers on the IL last week, and
We have another. It's
we do have
Bobby
another.
Miller. Come on down to the 15-day IL with shoulder inflammation. They just keep dropping like flies. It's also this week it was revealed that Spencer Strider is confirmed to be out for the year. So he's undergoing
The
UCL surgery. Yeah,
not
so
Tommy John UCL repair surgery.
pretty big blow to the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, we once he went down, we kind of said he's probably not back for the season. So we were kind of anticipating it. I know Braves fans were anticipating it too, just because that's their nature.
Yeah.
But just to get the final word and verdict is kind of.
I've never met fans that are at the same time so like on board with their team. We're gonna beat anyone by 50, and at the same time everything sucks. As the Braves,
Yeah,
it's almost a bipolar fan base. But
yeah, but they still have a great lineup, so they should not be fine.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean,
Marcell Ozuna's on fire to start the year.
yeah, I mean he's taking the place of Acuna, who's former MVP, who's kind of off to not a great start for Acuna, but I mean he'll figure it out.
He only has 3 extra base hits to this point. All 3 of them are doubles, which is
Yeah.
shocking. The hard hit ball percentage is way down, which is a little bit concerning. But Ozuna's picked right up for him. He's hitting 373 on the year, OPS over 1, and has 7 homers. So
Yeah,
that's
he's I mean Ozuna from the Braves.
indeed.
What can I say?
Ozuna from the Braves.
Ozuna from the Braves. But yeah, Bobby Miller back in the IL, and Justin Steele had started a new podcast with Barstool and Marty Mush. I encourage you to go watch it. They did a whole 10-15 minute talk about what Justin Steele thinks about pitcher injuries right now, especially because one, he's on the IL, not arm related. His is he was feeling a ground ball, but just getting it from a pitcher's perspective about just all the different things that go into it. He even said a big deal is the pickoff attempts. They only have 2 pickoff attempts, so they can't, like, if there's a guy on base and you're trying to get the guy out, you have to throw that much harder because you can't really work to pick him off, and he can steal now. Hearing him talk about that and the shortened pitch clock with runners on base from they had last year, it just feels like everything's rushed in a sprint on the mound. But yeah, go listen to that. It's called Steal the Show. Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Justin Steele. But yeah, just go listen to his podcast. He has a lot of insight on that if you want more details from a Major League pitcher, which I'm not. Even though I'm old enough to be one now, I guess.
Yeah, really.
But
crazy.
Yeah, and then lastly, the AL West is off to a
horrible start.
Rough start for the kind of teams that they have. I mean, the Astros 6-11, Mariners, who I think we both picked to win this division, are 6-10.
Well, the good news is they're still right there because the division leaders are only the 8-8 Rangers. So
only 2 games. I mean,
the A's are in third.
Yeah,
it's
one team at 500, not a team above 500. So
Angels 7-8, A's 7-9. It's honestly wild to me. I thought this was going to be one of the top 2 divisions in baseball this year.
I didn't. I just thought it'd be a little better.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought they'd be the exact same as last year. We have the Houston Astros, Texas Rangers, and Mariners kind of battling.
Is that not a top 2 division in baseball? Because AL East is obviously going to be the hardest division in baseball. I think we all expected that. But for that second spot, I think everyone's thinking NL West, AL West, right there. Those 2 divisions, those top 3s in those various divisions. But AL West stumbling out of the blocks so far, which has been a little weird to see.
I mean, it's still a really competitive division.
So
we will have
the
those
same way the NL Central was competitive last year.
Yeah. I mean, the NL Centrals, I think they've stepped up their competitiveness this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked about the divisions. We thought we'd do something a little fun for y'all. We have these 2023 Bowman Platinum cards.
Yes, not sponsored.
No, not sponsored.
Although Bowman, if you want to,
yeah,
it would not say no.
Come our way, Bowman and Topps. I love your cards. Better than Panini. Probably shouldn't have said that, but Here I am.
Almost ruined any chance.
No, Panini makes the NASCAR cards, so Panini can give us some NASCAR stuff. Panini's NASCAR cards are better than Topps' NASCAR cards.
Was it Joey Gase?
Topps know that they don't have NASCAR.
Was it Joey Gase that ran a Panini paint scheme a few years ago for NASCAR?
I don't remember.
I think it was. I think he ran an Xfinity card that was sponsored by Panini a couple years ago.
Probably because they're the sole rights holder for NASCAR trading card. But yeah, we'll open these up. Hopefully, get something cool. And we'll show y'all. But yeah, let's get right into it. These things are hard to open.
They are. We did not plan well for this.
No, should have pre-opened them. There you go.
Now, if they were pre-opened and we pulled something good, everyone would say it was fake.
That is true.
Oh my gosh.
I have a few of these. The design on them is kind of neat. Here, I'll just let y'all. That's the design. That's the JD Martinez. So not bad. Oh, I'm always a big fan of the Platinums. Set 1 was available, but I like the updated series is better, so I was going for the Bowman Platinums. This one's sparkly. Tanner Schobel, sparkly.
Nice.
Rookie card, Tristan Casas, for my Red Sox fans out there. And then if this was a show, I'd be jumping out of my chair right now, because that's a Mike Trout.
It's a diamond!
So it's a Mike Trout. You struggling over there?
I am struggling a lot.
Open your backs.
No!
Hand it over, son.
There we go. We got there eventually. Alright. So we've got Francisco Lindor looking nice there. I have no idea how to say this guy's last name. Angel, is it Ganau?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say it. You're the one getting
no offense, Guardians fans. We got this pretty cool new money, Brooks Lee.
Oh, that's a cool card.
Yeah.
This one's a cool card too.
Looking nice.
Precious Elements, got some signed stuff on it for Cam Collier.
Yeah, I like that. As a Reds fan, that's very cool to me.
We may have a trade.
Yeah. Then this nice Osvaldo Cabrera card.
Oh. Bobby Witt Jr.
Another night. You're getting a lot of good ones over there.
Okay, dude, this is a show.
I actually pulled Bobby Witt Jr. in the show the other day.
Oh, nice. So I pulled up my first 90+ diamond, and it was Mookie Betts. Not a good guy, not a bad guy to pull.
No.
Not at all.
Is Freddie Freeman 90+ this year? I know I've pulled him. I think that's the only guy that would have been close.
Gabriel Moreno, Diamondbacks catcher. That's a good rookie card.
I got Hunter Green.
Hey, look at you.
I'm happy with that.
Oh, you're gonna be jealous of this one. Rookie card, Bowman Platinum, Spencer Steer.
Oh, that is very cool.
That's a nice one.
Let me see what that.
That's a nice one.
That is very, very cool.
That's a good one.
I got Jose Abreu. Look at him. Solid. Yoswar Garcia for the Phillies.
It's your boy Freddie Freeman.
Yeah. And then a guy that has terrorized me for years, Jose Ramirez. Elite player, though. One of the best in the game. J-Ram.
Ooh, this one. Javier Baez. Not as
It's
exciting.
going to be worth millions.
Not as exciting as it used to be when you pulled a Javier Baez cards.
It's worth millions. Known cover athlete of the show, Javier Baez.
That was a good addition. They should just start putting his Cubs cards back in these packs for people to get excited.
Yeah.
Oh,
we got Jacob DeGrom.
Pull some heat.
This is the pick. This was 2019. Jacob DeGrom. I still like that. I'm a big Jacob DeGrom guy. We got Daniel Montesino, Padres guy. We've got this renowned rookies, Brett Beatty. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Matthew Liberatore, Cardinal rookie card.
We've got this nice Julio Rodriguez. Look at that.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think these are called refractors with the kind of shiny stuff.
Yeah.
Justin Verlander refractor.
Nice.
And then my last card of the day, Manny Machado, Bowman Platinum. He was back flip of the week, and I pulled him. That's pretty fitting.
Yes.
Way to go, Manny.
As everyone said, it's rigged. These are unopened packs. It cannot be rigged.
Yeah, why can't even get them open? So they're definitely not rigged.
No, it's not. Oh, we got a Jordan Walker. Nice for you Cardinals fans out there. Nice little Jordan Walker card.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Ritter, Colorado Rockies legend, I assume. I don't know much about him. Got this cool Joe Lamp.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice name, Joe Lamp.
Yes. Masataka Yoshida here for the Red Sox, and then Rays pitching prospect Taj Bradley, another cool one.
Yeah.
So mine are not in any order at all, and in a mess.
What are you doing?
And we're gonna leave it like that.
I wish the camera could see that. He has cards here. He has like 100, like just 40
Yeah.
cards wrapped us to death.
So-
Mine are nice and neat stacked.
There is a method to the madness. Don't worry about it, everyone. But that's kind of an insight into our personalities here.
Yeah. I mean, they get that with the
Yeah. In
Yep.
case you didn't know already. And now we're gonna cut to black as I beat Keegan over the head with a lug nut for the Spencer Steer card.
Oh, I thought you said lug nut from the Spencer Steele car. I was like, what? I was like,
No.
Spencer Steele. I was like, did you
Spencer
steal
Steele,
Steele?
no,
Steal, like, you steal his lug nut from the interstate? I got one. This is gonna be
It's signed and everything.
Sign it. Sign it. Spencer Steele, if you're watching, he does not stalk you, or he does, but only online, not in person.
That was highly chaotic.
Only because he doesn't have the money to just talk to you in person. Because you travel a lot.
I don't have that kind of travel budget.
Yeah. Neither do I. But you've seen the shirt. Let's move on. We've opened the baseball cards. That was fun. But even more fun, in my opinion, was the Texas race. A race that we were not excited for at all. But Chase Elliott is back. He's got it done.
Yes.
He's winning the championship this year. That's what that says, right?
I won't go that far, but he looks on form right now. Kevin Harvick brought it up multiple times in the broadcast, talking about this is a more aggressive Chase Elliott, and I think we've seen that the last couple weeks.
Yeah, this
Martinsville
win has been coming.
Yes,
it's been building.
It's been on the way for sure, and he finally got it done. And even though I'm not a Chase Elliott fan, he's so massive for the success of the sport that I'm happy to see him back in victory lane for sure. I think it's great for NASCAR, and you saw with the fans flocking to the catch fence there as he did the Polish victory lap. So it was great to see. And this is a race that I think is going to be viewed as better than it actually was, both because of the Chase Elliott win and then all the cautions that kind of saved what could have otherwise been a very boring race.
No, 100%. I think the cautions saved this Texas race as far as viewership goes. I do think the racing was better than we expected. In the short, we never had a long run, so in the short runs we got, the racing was decent, not great, but decent enough for what we were expecting going to Texas. But I mean, all the cautions come out, regrouping the field all the time because Texas restarts were fun.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a lot of movement. They were fun to watch, entertaining. All the restarts. So just to watch that unfold because of all the cautions, I think saved the viewership. But you can look at it from a purist and a racing fan standpoint, saying, can we go 25 laps? I mean, they're spinning out constantly. I mean, no matter what stage, what position they were in the race.
The amount of money in diffuser damage from this race, from all the cars that spun and went 1,000,000 miles an hour rear first into the wall, has to be insane.
I mean, Larson's diffuser had to have been grinded to nothingness by the end of that. I mean, half a mile was limping to the finish line without a tire.
It was a wheelie, unfortunate.
No, never do that again. Yeah, bad Micah pun. I don't know how much we've had. We need to ticker, but we'll start it now. 1.
Yes.
But yeah, so you mentioned the kind of Polish victory lap. We normally rate the burnout. No burnout. So what do you think about the Polish victory lap?
Well, I'm giving this a 10 easily because it's the first time that a Hooters car has gone to victory lane since the late Alan Klawicki, who obviously invented the Polish victory lap, named after him. And to see Elliott do that in a Hooters car, and the first time it's been back to victory lane since Klawicki, I think was very cool. It was a very, very good moment for the sport. So for that, I think this deserves a 10.
I agree. I'm giving it a 10 as well. Props to Chase Elliott just for knowing the history of the sport.
And he said in an interview after he was looking forward if he won to be able to do that to honor him. Yeah.
Very, very well informed race car driver. You know, some drivers, I'm not gonna name any names, but probably don't know that kind of stuff. Just get in the car and drive.
Quinn Half.
Okay, we will say names. But just props to Chase Elliott. And if you listen to his interviews with that he's had with Dale Jr. and whatnot, he is very much into the roots of NASCAR and very intelligent young race car driver.
Which I think is part of what makes him most popular driver. It's not all just because he's Bill Elliott's kid. Like, there's stuff about Chase Elliott that makes him that on his own as well.
Right. So just, great to see Hooters' car back in victory lane. If you buy 10 wings today at Hooters, you get 10 for free.
Well, I won't be because my car is 1.5 miles from where I live. We don't have a lot of schoolwork to do.
Yeah.
We didn't even know that either.
Yeah, we don't have a Hooters around here. But, so thanks Chase Elliott for the 10 free wings. If you partook in that today, good job. But yeah, just a really caution-filled race, but let's talk about the end because a lot happened and a lot more could have happened. Really,
Yeah.
they had. I want to say it was 2 overtimes, but realistically, it was 3 green-white checkers. We'll call it
Yeah.
because the first one didn't go into overtime. They didn't call it overtime, but it was a green-white checker to end the race. And then that obviously they wrecked, had to regroup. Green white checker, Denny Hamlin spun,
Yeah.
had to regroup.
Hilarious.
Right. And I don't think Chase Elliott adored him or ran him up the track or anything like that.
These cars just get
right.
so undrivable in the air.
Especially with that bump
Yeah.
in turn 4. We saw it with Michael McDowell. He did the exact same
The
thing.
bump in 3 and 4 was taking lives.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell, Jimmy Johnson, who I think is more partly because he struggles to drive the next gen car, Denny Hamlin, John Hunter Nemechek got there once. The Alex Bowman wreck with him and Nemechek as well. Who else, man? A lot of people ran afoul of that 3 and 4 bump.
Mm-hmm. And then, so yeah, I don't think you can blame that on Chase Elliott at all. I think they're very clean racing. They plenty of room in between them. So I haven't heard official word from Denny. I know his podcast came out today. I'm sure he said something about it. I know he did ask to see the SMT data on Chase Elliott's car. So I feel like he kind of thought Chase Elliott drove him up the track.
Well, obviously the history between those two, I don't think you can
Yeah.
fault Hamlin at all for thinking maybe something fishy happened, but as far as just watching the race, it just looked like classic next gen aero wash to me.
Right. And then before the final restart, Chastain gets on the radio and is like, "Well, they better not do that to us." And
Yeah.
no context. It's all they better not do that to us. That's the sentence we got. The guys on the booth had no idea what he was talking about.
Well, watching it, I thought that Chastain was worried he wasn't going to get a push from the cars behind him because the previous restart, he and Keselowski hadn't really pushed Hamlin and Elliott into turn 1 that far. So I thought he was saying, well, I'm going to need guys to push me, but I think you have a bit of a different thought on what he was talking about.
Was I think because he was a witness to whatever went down in turn 4, and I think maybe he thought Chase Elliott drove Hamlin off the track, or maybe that's just what he thought because he ended up seeing the 11 spin.
Yeah.
So maybe in his head he was like, "Oh, Chase Elliott's like he wants this win. He's just spinning people." So he may have just seen that, and obviously they don't have the best seat from where they are. So once they look at it on TV, it's different. But in the moment, it's probably like, "You better not do that to us." And I think he was talking about maybe Elliott driving up the track, driving into the wall, and kind of slamming him. We'll never know. Chastain
Different Hendrick
yeah, yeah. Chastain ended up wrecking anyways on the final restart, which, before we get into that, they came on the radio and said Elliott had enough fuel for one more green light check.
Yeah, panic level.
One more overtime. So I'm standing about 6 inches away from my TV like this, breathing, because it'd been a while. All right? And then I say that, and I'm like, oh man. I'm like, the way this race has gone, there is no way there's only going to be one more green white checker. So I'm not a fan of the white flag rule at all. I hate it. I never wanted the white flag rule more in my life. I was like, just get to the white flag, because I knew it would have been over. So yeah, I was like, just get to the white flag, and he did, because I mean the race didn't end under green, they didn't race back to the line. So Chastain kind of given all he got, I mean I don't fault Chastain at all. I mean,
Yeah.
Chase Elliott got in front of him, and he had some ground to make up, so he just drove it super hard around turn 2, got up the racetrack, and then William Byron got a really good run off turn 2.
Yeah.
And just the combination of him fading and him having a full head of steam kind of combined, and he tore Chastain into the wall. Chastain went from finishing second, third, or fourth maybe to 32nd.
Yeah.
So tough day for him. I know he was out. I don't think he did interviews after the race. He was just
he
gone.
declined to comment after release from the care center, but the infield shot looking up out at turn 2 I think showed it best, where Chastain was just so tight that car wouldn't turn, he couldn't get it to accelerate, and Byron was absolutely flying off of 2, and I think they just kind of met in the middle.
Right.
I don't think you can really expect Byron to be able to react that fast. Just unfortunate racing incident there. You feel bad for Chastain because he had a good car, really probably deserved that second place finish, but I don't think you can say this is William Byron's fault, although will Chastain wreck Byron in the near future? I'd say that's very likely based on just Chastain's personality, but I don't think that this is William Byron's fault.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think William Byron in his post-race interview was kind of like, me and Chastain don't really race like that. I wasn't trying to race like that. It was just circumstances, and I got to run. He was fading, and it just gonna happen. So obviously William Byron didn't have any intent behind it. And why would he? I mean, it's not like he was It's not like
I'm still like a
Mr.
guy for second when you're a mile
Well,
off the
it's not like
lead.
Mr. H called and was like, "Hey, make sure Elliott gets this win." You know, Rick Chastain,
Yeah.
like, because they were already William Byron. I mean, no, Chase Elliott had that race one in the bag. I
Yeah.
mean, if no caution comes out, he wins the race. Just because he had gotten tight up into turn two. So yeah, but just I mean, it's good for the sport to take a deep breath and say he's back. I mean,
Yeah.
we've known Chase Elliott is starting to figure out this next gen car recently. I think this would be his fifth top five in a row if he hadn't gotten that track limit
Yeah.
violation at Coda. So I mean, he's starting to figure it out, and it's fun to see. But yeah, just good for the sport, good for Chase Elliott. But yeah, I mean, now we got my favorite track of all time, my hometown track, Talladega, is coming up this week. The big,
Yeah.
the bad. This is Talladega with a new logo, which
It's not
we'll
good.
throw both on the screen for you. Let us know which one you think is better. This one was perfect, man. There are not a lot of perfect logos in my opinion.
Yeah.
This one was near perfect. And now you have the
Not so much.
yeah, the new one that they tried to unveil, and I think they just did it to get. A lot of the times when companies change their logo, it's just to get attention on them in the media. Well, I don't get it. I don't fault them for it. I just
There's so much of like this new modernist minimalist design of logos where take away as much extra detail as possible, like the whole silhouette design. I don't like the philosophy in general, and I don't like this new Talladega logo.
yeah, I don't. The fans don't like it, and especially in a sport like Talladega.
It looks like the Richmond logo.
Yeah,
It
like
looks like you've drawn the silhouette of Richmond.
yeah,
Around.
it doesn't give grandness to the track.
No.
Like in a sport like NASCAR and a track like Talladega where everything's roots and tradition, you just change one of the best logos in the sport.
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. The track is still the same, which is all that matters. Racing is going to be great. It always is. Um, Now, if you recall last week, I said Ford is going to have a really good day at Texas. Not win, but have a really good day at Texas. I hit the nail on the head with that one. It was spot on. I also said that's because they're going to win at Talladega. They've got some momentum under their belt. Started at Martinsville, really good day at Texas with Briscoe and Keselowski. They're winning at Talladega. A Ford is winning at Talladega. I said it last week. I'm saying it again. There was one driver who I teased last week who I needed to see a little bit extra something in at Texas. I saw it. That driver was Brad Keselowski. He showed it to me. He heard me. He texted me about it.
Yeah.
Brad Keselowski is winning at Talladega. He's won there, what, 3 or 4 times? I mean, Brad K. Dega wins. Okay. That search didn't come out. He won there. I've seen him win there twice in person. I know he's won there at least 3 to 4 times. He's doing it again. He's getting 107 win the streak race is going to snap. Chase Elliott snapped after 42 last week to Brad Keselowski, who finished second, despite what he may have thought after the race. That was pretty funny. He did finish second, and he's snapping his own win the streak of 107 this weekend at Talladega. He's been great there. It's a Ford. It's not like a short track or anything. It's a super oval, so ain't really anybody can win.
Yeah.
I think Ford gets it done just because I think they're due, and Brad Keselowski is going to be that Ford. He's getting it done.
Well, it was funny today when we first got together today. I just knew that you had a Ford that you were sitting on for Talladega, and we were obviously on the same wavelength. Because as soon as we start talking about Talladega, I'm like, man, I was thinking about him for last week, and I'm taking Brad Keselowski, and he was like, well, that's the guy I was sitting on. I was like, dang it. So
And Micah doesn't like to agree with me.
I don't. I think it's more entertaining for you guys if we have different picks so we don't have all the eggs in one basket. And two, I like being right, so I'm more inclined to pick a different person, although it hasn't worked yet for me this year. So
0. He's got 0.
you only have two.
Hey, that's 200% more than you have.
No, because 0 multiplied by anything is still 0.
Whatever.
So
Nerd.
I have Chris Buescher for this weekend. I'm just taking Brad Keselowski's teammate because I think an RFK car is going to win. They've consistently been good at super speedways. I think Buescher's developed a lot in recent years as a super speedway driver. I will say, if this doesn't come true, I would maybe watch for Joey Logano, a guy that's had a quiet start to the year but has slowly been building momentum and who we know is hyper aggressive on these plate tracks. So I would watch for Logano as well, but I'm locking in Chris Buescher for this weekend.
I like that. Oh, obviously I like that. It's an RFK car. So you think Joey Logano are the other forwards? What about we'll start with the Toyota because I have something I want to say for Chevy. So what Toyota would you say you would watch out for?
Well, this might come off as slightly psychotic, but well, maybe not slightly psychotic, but a bit out there. I think out of all the Toyotas in this race, I think the best chance to win at Talladega would be Bubba Wallace.
Okay.
He's done it before,
Uh,
so
I mean, it was a rain shortened race, but
he's done it before.
He's never win there.
But I think that he is really he's another driver who's gotten better and better at these plate tracks.
He's ran well at Talladega.
Yeah.
It's his home track as well.
And I think that that's always great motivation for a guy at their home track. The guy that I was thinking about saying that for a second, that I think would have come across as highly psychotic, was John Hunter Nemechek, which is a guy that I have quoted as the NPC of NASCAR for
I
forever.
think Eric Jones is a better shot than Nemechek this weekend.
Not at a plate track. I think Nemechek is better at plate driving than Eric Jones. I think in every other facet of NASCAR, I would give it to Eric Jones. And by the way, quick tangent on Eric Jones. I think this is a guy who's having one of the more underrated seasons in the sport so far. He's run top 5 for a while at Phoenix. He had a very good car this past weekend at Texas, was up there in the top 10 for a while before getting shuffled back. I think he's really outdriving this Legacy Motor Club equipment so far and is just getting dragged back by it towards the end of these races. But I think he's having a very good season. But as far as plate racing, I think Nemechek might have something up his sleeve here. But as far as just Toyotas in general, Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, I agree with that. And pitting's not a huge, track position's not. I mean, you can sacrifice 2 spots on pit road at a track like Talladega. Track position's not huge, so his pit crew
Less good ability
over.
Speaking of 2311 pit crews,
yeah.
oh my goodness! As a Tyler Reddick fan, the amount of pain from that green flag pit stop, because I think we can both agree that was the fastest car at the end of this race. If the last
Near
run,
the end, yeah.
he was
I don't know
gapping
that
people.
3-wide pass with Chase Elliott in the restart though. I think him and Chase Elliott were
That's a pure restart run, though. I think as far as just
in the longer run.
put the car in clean air and let him go, Tyler Reddick had the fastest car, and that's probably the third race this year he's had the fastest car. With Vegas at the end, I think he was faster than Larson. I think he had the fastest car at Phoenix before the pit strategy really shuffled him out, and now this week. So Reddick's going to get it done eventually. I think.
2311, rough.
Yeah,
rough
the pit crews at 2311 are just in the business of sabotage.
We saw some fault in the JGR pit crews over the weekend too,
Yeah.
especially in stage 1. Martin Truex had come back for loose wheel. Ty Gibbs, which really, I mean, we could say he screwed up his day. He still finished pretty well, but I mean, he was contending for a win before that, and he never really got back up there.
Yeah, he couldn't pit because there was a fire either, so
But yeah,
he's
he
held
had to
out
stay
because
out
of
of
that.
But he had a loose wheel to come back.
Just typical guy I picked to win the race things.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the first time that I think my pick really
Yeah,
pulled a Micah.
the wheels literally fell off of your pit.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen at Talladega. We know somebody's gonna wreck and be mad because some drivers
Many people are gonna wreck and
don't
don't
pick this track. So last time I went to Talladega was 2022 in the fall when Chase Elliott's last win up until yesterday, and there were 2 caution flags, both 1-car incidents.
Mm-hmm.
And I took people who had never been to Talladega. I told them get ready. This is gonna be awesome. The most insane wrecks you've ever seen. And then I had a flat tire and a car get in the wall that was 3 laps down.
Nice.
That was they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I promise it's not always like this.
Are these any of the same people you took to Atlanta this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've been reviewed.
Much better experience at Atlanta. But no, Talladega, I'm still in my head I may go, may not go. I don't know. Talladega, it's weird. You gotta have a really nice seat to see everything.
I've got my other race tickets locked in for this year. I'm actually going to the Bristol night race in the fall, which I'm super excited for. I haven't gone since, was it 2017 where Kurt Busch won the fall race there?
Yes.
So I haven't been since then, and it's my favorite experience at a track I've ever had.
Yeah, I need to get
So
to Bristol.
You need to next year. We need to go to a Bristol race together,
Yeah,
but
that'd
I'm
be fun.
super excited for that.
But yeah, let's get back to Talladega with the cars we think and manufacturers. So Bubba Wallace, I agree with you. Toyota, he runs well there. Chevy. There's a guy who people aren't really mentioning a whole lot right now, he's ran well. Don't get me wrong, but I think he may be the next 2022, 2023 Chase Elliott, where he runs really well but doesn't have a win, and that's Chastain.
Yeah.
He won the last race of the season last year, but I mean, he just doesn't have that win yet this year. And it's still early. It's only been 9 races, but he just doesn't have that win yet, and he hasn't really competed for a win in my eyes. Like at the end of the race, he's right there fighting. Um, but he just runs well. Gets a lot of top fives, a lot of top tens. Um, he just hasn't had that edge, that Ross Chastain edge that we've seen. And really, I think that race win at Phoenix, I think if you take that out, he really hasn't won in quite some time.
Yeah,
Maybe 20, 30 races.
it's been a
Um,
while.
so I'm not worried about him, but I'm starting to I'm having my eye on him week in week out. Like where
Yeah,
is he at? How's he doing? Um, so maybe look out for him this week. I know he loves to push, and Talladega's a track where he can push.
I have a Chevy that I am gonna have my eye on this week as well, and it's Kyle Busch because those RCR cars this year at any non-plate
We
track
talked about it
been
last week. Like
horrific.
if he's gonna win, it's
Yeah,
probably gonna have to come this week.
but they've been really fast on plate, or maybe not plate tracks, but super speedways in general. He was very
Right.
fast at Atlanta as well, and I think this weekend you're either going to see him finish top five or cause a massive wreck, because or maybe even both, because
Yeah,
he's going to be so hyper aggressive, knowing this is one of his only chances,
yeah,
and
I'm with you.
a hyper aggressive Kyle Busch is not someone I want pushing me. So
Someone I think's in a similar boat with a much better team is Alex Bowman.
yeah,
I think he kind of in the no driver wants to admit this, but I think he's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna have to.
he's cannonballing down the standings right now too. After the wreck this week, down to 14th right now, and when you look at the other Hendrick drivers, you have Larson in first, Elliott in fourth, Byron in fifth in
Yeah,
the point standings, and then Bowman all the way down in 14th.
and I mean he ran well at Daytona. Came second by a few feet, depending on what picture you look at. Um, but I think another guy like Kyle Busch, where like if he gets in the playoffs or if he locks himself into the playoffs, it is probably gonna have to come at Talladega or Daytona, and you don't want to gamble for Daytona because
Yeah,
it's your last race at that point. So I know a lot of those guys who have been in the sport for a while, like Bowman has and Bush, they're kind of knowing like, hey, pull out all the stops. We got to get it done this week. So going into Daytona that last week, we're not in a must-win situation, which is super hard at a super speedway track like Daytona. Like
hmm,
going to must-win at one of those tracks, you might as well just sign off.
yeah. And one more thing before we leave Talladega here, I want to leave the realm of reality because I just want to say this in case it somehow comes true. I was working on schoolwork on Sunday, and before I started watching the race, I took a nap. And during my nap, I had an absolutely absurd, absurd dream that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won the Talladega race, a three-wide moment with Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. So if that happens,
Ricky Stenhouse will win.
yeah, if that
He was
happens, that would
first
be
two place.
insane. But I just want to note that down in advance in case somehow that happens. But I highly doubt it.
I do want to see a really cool 3x2, kind of like
Yeah.
2011, 2012, a 3x2 finish where like because I mean that the finish line's unique to Talladega and Talladega only.
Uh huh.
And I want to see it in play this week. I want to see some guys. I want to see someone have like a 2 car lead going where the normal finish line would be, and
Yeah.
end up losing to a car on the
That was one of
outside.
my favorite Jimmy Johnson wins to watch of all time. Was that Talladega race where he came out of nowhere?
Yeah,
It
I
was so
mean,
fun.
yeah, I mean, I've seen some great moments in person at Talladega. I've seen Jamie McMurray win at Talladega,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Remember that 2 year period where Jamie McMurray just owned the plate tracks for some reason?
That's
That
great.
was
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I love. You can't hate Jamie McMurray.
No, you can't. From
Um,
Joplin, Missouri. It had a real ring to it.
Joplin, Missouri. But yeah, was super excited for Talladega as always. Just fun racing, fun to watch, really entertaining. But let's move over to F1.
F1,
It hasn't
yes.
been as entertaining to watch in recent years.
No, other than 2021, which was absolute cinema. But this weekend we head to Shanghai, out to China for a track that we have not visited
In
since
China.
2019 because of COVID. And this is a track which, if you're a newer F1 fan, started watching after the first couple seasons of Drive to Survive, you won't be familiar with. Turn 1 at China is basically a spiral. It goes up and around and all the way back into itself, then back out and away. It's very cool to watch. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend. And then one of the longest straights on the calendar down the back stretch, which I think is really going to have teams like McLaren and Mercedes in trouble this weekend. And this just it's another track that I think Red Bull are going to do really well at. This is a car that shown so far can really handle anything that the F1 circuit has thrown at it. So I'm gonna have Verstappen winning again. I know,
Wow.
absolute shock.
Shaking it up.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have Perez in second. I think he's on good form right now. He's kind of doing what he did last season, where he had a really strong start of the year. I think he keeps that going. And I think Charles Leclerc finally figures it out this weekend versus Carlos Sainz. I think that He's had some struggles to start the year. Obviously, had the brake problem in Bahrain. Raced pretty well in Saudi. Then at Australia was on the back foot in qualifying. And Japan was on the back foot in qualifying. But had a really, really good race in Japan with that tire strategy. Probably the best I've seen him drive since the end of last year. And I think he's going to carry that momentum and be back on form. I think he's your last guy on the podium this weekend.
I have written here for my thing. I have Verstappen, Sainz, and Perez, but I think I'm gonna switch it up. I think I'm gonna go Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. Not really switch it up, I guess. Just
Doesn't even try to
flip,
fight the Red Bull 1-2 anymore.
flipping my second, third. Yeah, all year. I think I had Perez first in the first two races, and then I kind of pushed him to third because like, all right, maybe Ferrari could fill in that second spot. But nah, just not after last.
Just the overwhelming pace of Red Bull right now.
After Japan, I'm gonna go for Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. I do think Sainz is just kind of. I think like we talked about his emotions last week. I'm an emotional guy. I think he's just going to carry that a little bit further. I'm not going to say he finishes ahead of the player all season, but I think until he gets a contract, because we know it's going to come sooner than later.
Yeah,
he might because he's just racing that with that extra little bit of motivation to get a contract. So until then, I do think Sainz kind of outpaces Leclerc a little bit. So I have Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. So we just have the Ferraris flipped for our third podium spot.
Well, Ferrari has shown this year they're really being un-Ferrari like. I think Fred Vasseur's really turned the team culture around. They're really firing on all cylinders and just can't break past the Red Bulls this year. They're yet to finish behind any car that's not a Red Bull this season. Both Ferraris are. So I think that is a real strong point for the Scuderia right now. One more thing about China is that this is the first time ever a Chinese Grand Prix will have a home driver in Zhou Guanyu making his Chinese GP debut, which I think is good because he might not have a seat after this year. But I think it's always great to see a guy get a home race, and for Zhou, I think he's been kind of under the radar, doing well his first couple seasons, but has really struggled qualifying last in every race this season, which has obviously not where you want to be, but hopefully he gets a little bit of injection from the crowd. I don't think the stake or the kick or whatever it's called is quick enough to score points regardless.
So you
but
think he gets a point?
No, I just hope for a strong drive.
Yeah, I love hometown stuff. And when Logan Sargent came to America last year and scored a point, that was huge.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't think he gets a point this week. But yeah, that's all the races we got for you this week. Real quick, golf. The Masters, biggest golf tournament in the world every year, has come and went. Masters always a lot of fun.
We were there.
No, we weren't. I wish we were.
I wish.
Yeah. I don't really watch a lot of golf, but I do watch the Masters. And I have watched more PGA this year than I have ever.
Not an LIV guy?
Not an LIV. I did like watching Bryson DeChambeau. He's a hell of a golfer. Really fun to watch on the course. So yeah, but anyways, Scotty Scheffler won his second shot under 11 or 11 under par, which is pretty good if you're not a golf guy. He won in 2022. Then he gave Rahm the green jacket, and then
Rahm gave it right back.
Yes, that's kind of cool. And then Oberg, a young guy from Sweden who was in college last year, played at Texas Tech. He shot 7 under par in his first Masters to finish second.
Yeah.
It did really look out for this guy in the future. I mean, he's insane. I mean,
yeah, you see some guys though, like these young guys that just come up and they have one course that clicks, and sometimes it is Augusta. You have those guys in the PGA Tour that just, for whatever reason, really click with Augusta as opposed to other courses. So you never know. Maybe that's the case for Oberg.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna look out for him and maybe bet on him in the future to win the Masters because I think it's gonna happen in his career because he's still super young. But yeah, really fun to watch. He doesn't really overthink the game either. Like he steps up to the ball and he hits it. He doesn't really he doesn't step up, step back, look at everything.
Well,
10 practice swings. He just goes.
Most Scandinavian athletes across any sport are usually very, it's business. We're locked in. We're here to do it. Look at any Finnish motorsport driver ever, or Scandinavian hockey players. They're always just, this is the sport. We're going to play it to the best of our ability. No outside distractions. So that doesn't surprise me much.
And so Scotty Scheffler is the fifth golfer, but the second golfer to do this twice, and that is be number 1 ranked in the world and come in and win the Masters. The only other player who has done that twice in their career is obviously shocked no one, Tiger Woods, who made his 24th consecutive cut, also a record that only Tiger Woods holds now. However, after the cut, did not go well for Tiger Woods. He He's I think 48 years old now, and he's shot a lot of golf balls in one day. I mean, he had the early tee times and pretty much played all day, every single day. So he shot plus 16. Not great. I think it's one of his worst performances in the Masters ever. But age is certainly a factor, especially with his fused back.
He's
So
the Jimmy Johnson of golf at this point.
yeah, which is sad to see. However, unlike Jimmy Johnson, Tiger Woods has a son, Charlie Woods,
Yeah.
who is in high school now and looks incredible. I mean, they look the same, honestly.
Yeah.
And if he's as good as Tiger is in his college days, you can only imagine how good he's going to be when he's 30. I mean, he's going to be insane to watch. So just look out for Charlie Woods. I know I'm a Charlie Woods fan. May get me some Sunday red polos and hats. But yeah, so tough to watch Tiger perform like that. But I mean, he is getting old, and he played a lot of golf this weekend. But it's always fun to just watch him golf and talk to his fellow golfers. I'm sure it was great for all the golfers that he played with this weekend to just play rounds with Tiger Woods. So good experiences all around. The Masters provides that for anybody and everybody. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for next year for the next year's Masters.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, that's all we got for y'all. So see y'all later.